SmackDown Live was pretty bad. Welcome everyone to NoDQ Live here on NoDQ.com. Thank you to everyone watching live, whether you're watching just me or if you're trying to multitask and watch this and the Mixed Match Challenge. I actually do have the Mixed Match Challenge on right now, so I will be talking about it. I'm not really going to watch it, but you guys can leave some thoughts in the chat room. We have Finn Balor and Sasha Banks against Shinsuke Nakamura and Natalya. I will talk about that in a few minutes here. Let's rant about SmackDown Live. I thought this show was garbage. The only noteworthy thing on this show was that the U.S. title match was determined. The final took place. The new champion was crowned. We have a new United States champion. The match was not saved for the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, and it was not saved for next week's SmackDown Live. Instead, it was just put all out there on this week's edition of SmackDown Live. 4 matches on the show, literally 4 matches on a 2-hour show. This really dragged. Let me start off my ranting. If you liked SmackDown Live this week, you might not be a big fan of this video, so I'll just throw that out there. It kicked off with Jinder Mahal versus Xavier Woods. Now listen, I like Xavier Woods. I think he's an entertaining guy. I've never seen up, down, left, right, whatever it's called. But he's an entertaining guy. New Day is entertaining. With that being said, he's a tag team wrestler. And he's arguably the weak link of the 3. He's not that big of a star on his own as a singles competitor. He has not been established as a singles star. I think this should have been a quick squash match. I feel, and this is interesting coming from me because I've been critical about Jinder Mahal. But the thing is, Jinder Mahal needs the rebound. And I'm surprised by the outcome of this tournament, which I'll get to in a few minutes here. I think it should have been a quick squash. Jinder Mahal should have just dominated Xavier Woods and gotten some credibility, some real credibility. Instead, they had a match which went not 1, but 2 commercial breaks. How does this happen? Jinder Mahal, 2 commercial breaks, that long of a match? I disagree. I thought it was a boring match, Dane. You said it was a good match. I was bored because I don't care about either character. I feel like the New Day has gotten stale and Xavier Woods in this match. I never expected him to win. I think Mahal should have just destroyed the guy and beaten him very quickly to give Mahal the credibility he so desperately needs. I wasn't a fan of it. I felt like it was done to drag the show out rather than actually develop a character and get a character over. So I wasn't a fan of it. I felt like it did nothing for Xavier and it did nothing for Mahal. Whoop-de-doo, they had a 20-minute match. It was boring. My take on it, my opinion, it is what it is. Next up, we had Mojo Rawley versus Bobby Roode. I expected Bobby Roode to win, and he did. Another boring match where I really don't care about Mojo Rawley as a character. I think his theme music is awful. I think it's terrible. It gives me a headache. And the crowd was dead for this match. They were actually dead for most of the show. I mean, the thing is, this was in Laredo, Texas, which is not too far from Corpus Christi. So I don't know what it is about South Texas, that very south tip of Texas, but they are not very good historically when it comes to making noise. Alexander Pushing just left in a $5 super chat donation. Let's see what he said here. If I can scroll up, maybe. My scroll button has disappeared for some reason. So this is going to turn into a train wreck trying to find his message. Hold on a second. One moment here. Why can I not see the message? Oh, here we go. Last week's donations cheered you up, so let's start and make Rift a little less aggravated. And a $5 super chat donation. Thank you for that. I better move forward here because if I start to to ramble too much, people will complain and turn off the video. Right now we have 170 live viewers. You know, not quite what the Mixed Match Challenge is drawing right now, 126,000 live viewers. So yeah, I'm not quite at their popularity level, but thank you nonetheless for tuning in and watching. I truly appreciate every single viewer. Let's move on here and talk about the rest of SmackDown. Not much to talk about. I already talked about half of the show already. That's how boring SmackDown was. Literally, I can talk about the whole show in 5 minutes. The third of the 4 matches was another 6-woman match. Ruby Riott Squad against the 3 babyface stars. Charlotte, Naomi, Becky Lynch, I think. I'm not even sure at this point. So it's the same thing we've seen every single week. It was boring. Seems to be a running theme here. Everything's boring. We had some promos. I want to talk about AJ Styles' promo. That was awful. And what was so bad about it was the same type of promo that John Cena does or Roman Reigns does, where it's the top babyface doing the lame comedy. Cammy. Really? That was AJ's nickname for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and he made a fat joke about Kevin Owens. Ha ha ha! I was just laughing hysterically during this segment. No, it was terrible. And AJ Styles is given that lousy material. And the thing is, you know, people rant on Roman Reigns, but the thing is, Reigns is given that material. Reigns was told to go out there and say, suffering succotash. And AJ Styles was given this promo to be funny. You know, he's the top babyface. He has to have layers. He does comedy. It was terrible. TGS says, what was the fat joke? The fat joke was he said he's in a 3-on-1 match because Owens counts as 2 people. Hardy har har. Real funny. It was just so stupid. Dakota says, sounds like somebody took a poop in your cereal this morning. No, I'm calling it as I see it. SmackDown sucked. It was filler. It was 2 hours of filler. And when it was all over, I had no interest in seeing this pay-per-view. It did nothing for me. The Royal Rumble promos were lame. I did not like the show. I felt it was very weak. A show totally thrown together with no purpose. You did have the U.S. title main event, which was the 4th and final match. The only noteworthy thing that happened on the show, Bobby Roode is in fact the new United States champion. No Dolph Ziggler return, no interference, which was fine. I was a little surprised. I figured Jinder would win and Bobby Roode would be chasing for the title. So I guess Jinder's not being pushed. I don't know what's going on. They might as well just put him back in 3MB or something. I don't know. This was a lousy show. If I had to give it a rating, I'd give it like a D. Literally the only thing that saved it for me from being a complete waste of time was the main event with Bobby Roode winning, although it's not how I would have done it. I would have had Jinder Mahal win the title, and this is coming from me. People say I'm a Jinder Mahal hater. I think Mahal should have gotten the title here and had a decent run as U.S. champion. Let Bobby Roode win the title at WrestleMania. I feel like WWE blew their load here by having Roode win it without chasing the title. So whatever. Wasn't a fan of the show. Universal Muscle says, thank you, Road Dogg. TJS says, any heat on Jay for being arrested? So if you missed it, Jay Uso was arrested. The news is up on NoDQ.com. He was, in fact, on the show this week. There was a little backstage segment with Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin attacking them. People are saying the Mixed Match Challenge is laggy. They have 128,000 viewers right now. Nakamura just got drop kicked into the corner. I should just do play-by-play for the Mixed Match Challenge. Wait a minute. Let's see what happens here. I'm curious. My prediction was Balor and Sasha Banks to win this match. I actually did post my predictions over on Twitter and Facebook, so you guys can go check that out. I still think Asuka and Braun Strowman are going to win. Let's see what happens here. Okay, Sasha just made the save. Should I just call the match here? Should I be like Tom Phillips and call the match? Natalya thrown to the outside. By God, she was thrown to the outside. People are saying no, and people do not want me to do play-by-play for this match. I will answer some of your guys' questions. There seems to be a breaking story about Roman Reigns right now being connected to an accused steroids distributor. So you guys can check that out over at NoDQ.com. I will also be talking about Ricochet here in a few minutes. 200 live viewers. How about that? Not too bad. Granted, it's not 130,000. So I'm a little curious by the numbers for the Mixed Match Challenge. I mean, they have 130,000 live viewers, which is, you know, a very small portion of WWE's overall audience. My guess is people will watch this on demand, and not a lot of people are watching it live. It's just on Facebook. Sasha and Finn Balor just did the Too Sweet. So I wonder if Sasha's gonna join the Bullet Club here. Double drop kicks from Sasha and Finn Balor. What do you guys think about this match? I'm not really paying that much attention to it. Are you enjoying it so far? Do you think this concept has potential? KD Allen says if they did one on Twitter, I think that there would be more people watching. Chase says I'm not watching WWE on Facebook. I feel Natalya in this match, says Todd. Cindy says I cannot fast forward. What's your favorite Royal Rumble year of all time? 1992. I mean, that is always my go-to question. Okay, what just happened here? Is the match over? Did I miss something? I'm not sure what's going on here. Finn Balor and Sasha are in the ring taunting. Okay, something happened here. The match must be over now. So I think, wait a minute. I have no idea what just happened here. I totally missed it. But going back to the other comment here, 1992 is my all-time favorite Royal Rumble pay-per-view match and so forth. That was the one that I thought was the best, of course, with Ric Flair. Okay, so Sasha Banks put the bank statement on, and Natalya tapped out. So my prediction was correct. Finn Balor and Sasha Banks won the first match. There you go. I can click this off. Yay. And they did the Too Sweet again to end it. So that's it. That was the Mixed Match Challenge. And let's talk about some other topics here. Kiss it goodbye, Brain. The commentary on the 92 Rumble was just unbelievable. But that's my favorite pay-per-view for the Royal Rumble. Favorite Royal Rumble match. I liked Roddy Piper winning the IC title from the Mountie. Just a fun show overall. Awesome. Awesome show. Ric Flair, Bobby Heenan. Such a star-studded Rumble, too. From Hogan to Sid, Undertaker, Randy Savage. That was one of the all-time great Royal Rumbles. The 95 Rumble was only awesome because of Shawn Michaels. I mean, to be perfectly honest, other than that, the pay-per-view was terrible. The Rumble match, it was a one-man show. Maybe a two-man show with the British Bulldog. I would say that. I'll give Bulldog his due in that match. But, you know, star power-wise, you had a lot of nobodies in that match. Interstate Kyle is here. All right, so let's talk about some of the other news. Ricochet, Candice LeRae, and the War Machines. I'm not familiar with the tag team, the War Machines, whatever they're called. So I cannot say much about them. Ricochet, I've seen some of his stuff in Lucha Underground, and the guy's an incredible athlete, one of the best in the world right now. So no surprise that WWE signed him. I would expect him to go very far. He should be a big star. Candice LeRae is long overdue. I remember watching Candice back in PWG almost a decade ago, and I thought she had all the attributes, you know. Great-looking woman, very talented in the ring. She would mix it up with the men. I felt like she's the real deal. And I'm very much looking forward to what WWE does with her. I think she could be one of the top WWE female superstars period in 2018 and beyond. And Ricochet should be a major star, but the question is, will there be a glass ceiling with him like Neville or Austin Aries? Will he be thrown into 205 Live with no real upward mobility? So Roman Reigns, that's a big news story right now. Bleacher Report just posted something about it. I actually knew about it for a few days, but it wasn't until Bleacher Report decided to cover it that I went ahead and posted about it on NoDQ. This could potentially be devastating for Roman Reigns now that it's getting mainstream attention. And Bleacher Report is one of WWE's favorite media outlets. I mean, Bleacher Report would be referenced on WWE television, and they're covering this now. So yeah, it's definitely not the kind of publicity you want for your top guy, the superhero Roman Reigns. But I mean, people should not really be that surprised, I guess, because Reigns had already been suspended once. And we'll see what happens with Reigns. I don't know if this will stop his push or not, but the fact that this is starting to get some mainstream publicity is certainly not a good thing for him. WWE, for months, it was rumored that it would be Reigns versus Lesnar at WrestleMania. We'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know if WWE is going to give up on that push or not. Time will tell. But again, you can check out the audio of the accused steroid dealer talking about Reigns as one of his clients. That's up on NoDQ.com. You can check that out. Offman Rules just left a $5 super chat donation. Thank you very much, by the way. Punk's pipe bomb is number 2 in Raw's top 25 moments. Your thoughts? Okay, so I'm not even sure, is that WWE's list or was that a fan voted list? I still don't know for sure which it was. I did post about the number 1, which was the beer bath, and that for years that's always been considered the number 1 Raw moment, I think, by both WWE and the fans. Cindy says it was a WWE list. Steve says it was fan voted, so I'm not sure if people know for sure. Several people are saying it's WWE's list. If it's WWE's list, I mean, that's interesting. I find that more interesting than if it was a fans list because, you know, that's giving CM Punk some credibility. And, you know, no doubt CM Punk's pipe bomb has to be the top 5 for sure. I don't know if it's like number 1 or even number 2, but it's got to be up there. Certainly in the past 10, 15 years of Monday Night Raw, that's got to be the biggest moment. So I'm definitely, my interest is peaked a little bit. The fact that WWE would list that as number 2. They could have very easily put that at number 5 or number 6, and I don't think people would have been that upset about it. So it's really interesting if that was in fact WWE's decision to put that as the number 2 moment. I mean, I don't even know if I would put it as number 2. Like I said, I think I would put it somewhere around number 5. I mean, so many of Steve Austin's moments got to be at the top. You know, the beer bath is up there, driving the Zamboni, the cement, pouring the cement into Vince's Lamborghini. That's a great one. There's a couple other ones that I would consider to be the top. The simulcast with WCW shutting down Shane McMahon on Nitro. That's an all-time great one. The Corvette. Did I say Lamborghini? My bad. Same thing. Rich man's car, whatever. Mike Tyson, Steve Austin. Where was that on the list? Wasn't that like number 20 or something? I mean, Steve Austin and Mike Tyson was, I think, one of the key segments in getting people to watch WWE on a worldwide level and make WWE popular again. That's got to be in the top 5. Steve Austin and Mike Tyson. Festival of Friendship, where was that? I mean, as much as I like that segment, and I think it was probably the best segment of 2017, that one's got to be, like, you know, down a bit, like in the 20s. Yeah, 20 sounds about right. Name some of the other ones so I can recap some of them. Mr. Sacco. Well, that's part of the whole Steve Austin attacking Vince in the hospital. That segment is also another great one. That's got to be in the top 10 as well. Oh, Shane McMahon on the Nitro was 15. Wow. That is surprising. I mean, that should be way up there. The Rock's This Is Your Life's definitely got to be up there towards the top, maybe top 10. The Rock concert, Kurt Angle in the milk truck. Kayfabe Candy Ass says Big Show's father's funeral. I think that was on SmackDown, so nice try, Kayfabe Candy Ass. Oh, the Festival of Friendship was number 17. I don't think you guys even know. You guys are all over the place with some of these. Chelsea says that This Is Your Life segment with The Rock was so overrated. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought The Rock and Mankind, they had so much chemistry together. I think it was magic with those guys. And that was, you know, a very entertaining segment. Kane unmasking is another one that's a big moment. Shane's return is number 14. Really? So wait a minute. Let me get this straight. So Shane McMahon returning was bigger than Shane McMahon on Nitro. That I would definitely have an issue with. But, you know, this might be a fun panel video. Maybe I'll get the No DQ panel and we'll go over some of Raw's greatest moments maybe this weekend right before Raw 25 to discuss some of the big moments in Raw. Let's see here. How far are we at in this video? Okay. It was me, Austin. It was me all along. You know, I have to say, I mean, that is a really polarizing segment because it's a classic. We all remember it. Vince being revealed as the higher power. Jim Ross on commentary. Oh, son of a bitch. But I've been watching Raw around that period, and those segments made absolutely no sense. Vince being the higher power, just from a logic standpoint, was completely ridiculous. It was so absurd. The fact that Vince was feuding with the corporate ministry, and then all of a sudden he's the leader of the group as a way to swerve Steve Austin. The whole thing was bad. But, you know, Vince was so good in that role, revealing himself as the higher power and JR on commentary. You know, people remember it fondly, even though the whole thing made no sense whatsoever. Anyways, any other topics regarding Raw that you guys would like me to cover, or SmackDown? I pretty much covered everything on SmackDown. If there's anything else on Raw that I did not mention that you guys would like me to talk about, we could talk about EC3. So EC3 and Bobby Lashley are rumored to be returning to WWE. Their Impact Wrestling deals are finished. Tommy just left a $2 Super Chat donation. How would you book WrestleMania's main event if Roman Reigns gets taken out? Great question. I mean, off the top of my head, Brock Lesnar versus who? I would need a minute to think about that one, because if WWE could get him, Batista would be a great choice. I would really like to see Batista versus Brock Lesnar if Batista was available. A lot of people seem to agree with me on that one. Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar. I know that's not the big marquee main event. Or, you know, Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar, one-on-one rematch with Strowman finally winning and conquering Lesnar. So one of those three. It would be Joe, Strowman, or Batista. Offman Rules just left a $2 Super Chat donation. No Bret Hart for Raw 25? I guess not. I mean, they got a loaded lineup, and it's only a 3-hour show. I guess maybe things didn't work out between WWE and Bret. That's a little unfortunate because Bret was a pretty big part of Raw's early years, and especially that turning point year in 1997. Chris says Rusev versus Lesnar. Rusev who? I don't know anybody named Rusev. Sorry. But, you know, if Bret was at Raw 25, you know, maybe he would make the show a little bit of a downer because, you know, he's 4 out of 10 Bret Hart. I don't know. This SmackDown Live tonight, I have to say, though, was a 4 out of 10. To use a line from Bret Hart, it was a 4 out of 10. EC3, I could definitely see coming back to WWE, maybe even at the Royal Rumble. Apparently, he is completely free of his Impact Wrestling obligations. With Bobby Lashley, he will be free on February 1st, reportedly. I could see EC3 maybe debuting at the Royal Rumble, but the thing is, you know, it's interesting about EC3 because he was already in NXT. So the question is, do you bring him back to NXT or do you have him debut on the main roster since he already did appear in NXT before? So that's an interesting question. Will WWE have EC3 if they bring him back? Will they have him appear on the main roster right away. And yes, Trish Stratus has been confirmed for Raw 25. You got her, you got the Bella Twins, you got Michelle McCool, Kelly, and all those other women from 2010, 2012, yada, 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 whatever. At least we got Trish. At least we got her. And, you know, I think it would not have been the same without her. Trish was definitely one of the top female superstars in Raw history. If Punk returns on Raw, I'll strip nude to the quad, says Brian. If CM Punk returns this Monday night, I will dye my hair and my beard pink. You guys have it on record. I will do that if CM Punk returns on Monday's Raw. So there you guys go. Who opens Raw 25? Great question, Michael Freeman. I'd love to see Stone Cold kick it off. I mean, Stone Cold was arguably the biggest star in Raw history, the #1 moment in Raw history. So you got to have Stone Cold on the show, and I'd either kick off the show with him or end the show with him. You know, Steve Austin, you could say it's the house that Stone Cold Steve Austin built. Offman Rules left another $2 super chat donation. Who do you see at the Manhattan Center on Monday? Well, I think it's going to be mostly the legends, you know, the stars of the past will be there at the Manhattan Center. You know, the Sergeant Slaughters, Ted DiBiase, and so on. Those are the guys that'll be on the Manhattan Center portion of Raw. And I think what's going to happen is the main angles to set up the Royal Rumble with the current stars will be at Barclays Center. And then, you know, the fun throwaway legends segments to celebrate 25 years of Raw, that will be at the Manhattan Center show. You know, I'd love to see Roman Reigns on the Manhattan Center show. Imagine that crowd reaction. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. My guess is he'll be on the Barclays Center portion. But that would be something else. That would be very entertaining if we had Roman Reigns appear before that crowd. It's going to be really interesting to see if any of the guys like Roman Reigns or Jason Jordan that aren't so popular with the fans appear at Manhattan Center. We need more Double J. No, we don't, KD Allen. I would say the only reason I would be interested in bringing Jeff Jarrett back would be because he's been gone for so long from WWE. But other than that, I really don't care about Jeff Jarrett. Yes, J&M Productions. Raw is happening in 2 buildings. Part of the show will be at Manhattan Center, but most of it will be at Barclays Center. You know, it's celebrating 25 years of Raw, and, you know, Manhattan Center was where it all began, and WWE's going to go all out with the nostalgia for this show. Travis W. says, Jeff Jarrett never drew a dime. What about Lita, says Armageddon 1914. I haven't heard anything about her being there. She may be added at the last minute. I mean, she's been a regular on WWE television. Well, not Raw or SmackDown, but she's been on the network and doing pre-shows and that sort of thing. No Rock, unless Rock appears as a surprise, and I would not rule that out. Alberto says, what will Jericho do? Rumble, maybe? Jericho is not going to be at the Rumble. He has another commitment the day of the Royal Rumble, so he's not going to be there. My guess is it'll just be some sort of one-off, maybe a backstage confrontation with somebody, or maybe he'll come out before the crowd or be in a match. Maybe he'll be in a tag match or something like that. Protect the Revival. That's going to be interesting because the Revival, you know, based off of that Raw promo, a lot of people are afraid that the Revival, they're going to come out and get beat up by the Legends just like the Ascension did. And it's going to be that sort of thing where they're basically just punching bags for the Legends. Kayfabe Candy Ass thinks Hogan's going to be there, and he's just swerving everybody by saying he's going to be watching at home. I don't know about that one. I mean, he could always appear, but Hulk Hogan wasn't a big factor in Raw history. Then again, neither was Sergeant Slaughter other than being the commissioner. Wreck-It Beckett says, if Hogan's there, I will pluck my eyebrows. There you go. You guys are making some funny stipulations here for the Raw 25 and the Royal Rumble. But like I said, I will dye my hair and my beard pink if CM Punk returns to WWE on Raw 25. And when I mean by return, not a video package, but he appears there in front of the live crowd. So you guys don't try to pull something where, well, he showed up in a video package. No, he actually has to be there in front of the crowd. By the way, we hit 230 tonight, which for Tuesday's pretty darn good. So thank you guys for tuning in. We did not hit 300 though, so I will be saving some brain cells tonight. However, on Monday, if we hit 300 live, I will hit myself in the head with a steel chair. So I may end up hitting myself with a steel chair, and I will be dyeing my hair pink and beard pink if CM Punk returns. It could be a rough night for me Monday night. We'll see what happens. But on that note, I will go ahead and wrap up this video. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you all for the Super Chat donations. It's much appreciated. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the latest on the Roman Reigns situation with the link to the accused steroids dealer. All the latest news regarding Royal Rumble, EC3, Bobby Lashley, are they returning to WWE? NoDQ.com will have you covered. I will be doing live coverage of Raw this week on Twitter and on NoDQ.com. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, bookmark NoDQ.com. Get mobile notifications on Twitter to get informed with the latest news as it breaks. And that will do it. That's the end of NoDQ Live tonight. See you guys Monday night. See you later this week for NoDQ video and more great content on the website. And that'll do it. So long for now.